There's a quite telling and I think almost amusing post by Donald Trump on Truth Social. I'm just going to read it. One of the greatest privileges I had as president was firing Deborah Birx. Now, I mean, that's comedy right there because Trump is acting like this was a monumental act that he did, one of his most memorable things. But of course, Deborah Birx, anyway, she gets the boot. The only thing she had going was nice scarves.
That's the funniest part of the whole
I mean,
tweet.
I guess that's what people noticed about Deborah Birx, so sort of these stylish scarves. And here's Trump going on. I remember so well when she was lecturing the American people not to leave their homes for Thanksgiving, and then she traveled hundreds of miles to visit her family, who incredibly turned her into the police.
That's really funny.
The only one who thought highly of her was herself. So this is a classic Trumpian put down. I mean, he does it like nobody else can. And the thing I find funny about it is you could actually read this and not know it's Trump, and know just from the language that it's Trump, right?
No, it's Trump. But, honey, we were talking about this, about Trump yesterday, and just saying how, this, I know it gets to him because he did admit that it really does get to him. However, he doesn't behave as though it gets to him, right?
Right.
Because it's almost like he kind of thrives on it. I don't really know. I think any other person would literally be done, defeated by now. They would just be hiding under their desk, not wanting to do any kind of public office, but not Trump.
No, I think Trump is clearly, first of all, he's a unique character. There's an element in this that is, I won't say childish, but almost childlike.
He's honest. He's
right.
Brutally honest.
Which we are as children. I once heard a comedian go, well, he was talking about what it's like to be 8 years old. And he goes, well, if an 8-year-old tells you you're ugly, you're ugly. What he meant is that at 8, you're not taught to censor your opinions.
Filter.
You have no filter.
Yeah.
And Trump has some of that. But the point you're making is that, and I think this is really why the left is so unnerved by him. They feel like we've put so much pressure on this guy.
Yeah.
Multiple investigations. We're raiding his home. We've got criminal trials going on in New York. We're trying to get him in Georgia. He's banned on all the social media. And so the human response is to kind of go under the desk.
Right.
I don't know another, even think of people who we think of as being pretty tough. Think of the best people that we have in politics. Think of people like, Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, Ron DeSantis. Would any of them hold up under this kind of withering?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't know any human being that could and would. What makes it so amazing is that we know Donald Trump, on a personal level, and we know he loves this country. So we know that this drives him a lot. Now, I don't know of any other person that loves this country, but kind of loves themselves more because they don't want to take the heat. They don't want to take the abuse, the constant abuse every day that the media and the left give them. And so, I think anybody else would be like, you know what, guys? I actually have a really nice life, and sayonara. I'm a billionaire. I'm leaving. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my golden years, and I'm not going to worry about any of this stuff because you know what? The minute Trump would say that, they would stop. All investigations would cease. I bet.
That's a really good point. I think part of it also is that Trump, we see a hint of this in the kind of scrappy New York style, but I think with Trump, you have a guy who does value his brand. Mm-hmm. He does value what he stands for. And he has a sense of built-in indignation and outrage at what is being done to him. And so even though the normal tendency is to back off, I say this because I feel on a small scale I'm like this.
Oh.
Where after my case with Obama, if anything, I became stronger.
They radicalized
a little bit.
Yeah.
In personality, I'm not that way. But
I don't think so. No, but I don't think even you would take this abuse. I really don't. And I don't. And as your wife, I would not allow you to.
I mean, there's an element here where the left has pulled out all the stops, and they've pulled out all traces of decency. So what's so ironic is they accuse Trump of being indecent when they're indecent. They accuse Trump of having no limits. They have no limits. They accuse Trump of being tyrannical. He's not. They are. And
I know.
so,
and I always say, they're like, oh, Trump is a dictator. He was a dictator. He was a fascist. And I'm like, well, then he really sucked at his job, because
what kind of a fascist operates like this? I mean, what kind of a fascist calls an insurrection that's unarmed? Think of Mussolini's March on Rome, when Mussolini and the fascists, when they were heavily armed. This was a group that was full of veterans. They could exercise real intimidation.
Yeah.
Hitler's crackdowns, he could exercise real intimidation because
But-
he mounted armed insurrections and
Yeah.
not unarmed ones.
Yeah.